Okay, so I'm actually just going to talk about Vietnam for a bit. And I'm still jarred on this thing of how I'm meant to look at that camera. So I'm looking at you. But I quite enjoy looking at myself when I talk. I feel like I get more into a trance. So I'm just going to look at myself when I talk and get into the trance. So Vietnam. So my personal experience with Vietnam was, it was the first place in Asia I actually ever went when I was 18, and I went with a friend, and I actually just remember feeling a lot of pressure to like be a conventional traveller and go out and party and stuff, but at the time I was really fucking like, I just wanted to stay in bed. I missed my almost boyfriend at the time so much, and I was considering going home, and it was like the more pressure I felt to go out, the less and less I felt I could and I wanted to, and it was just, that part wasn't great, but I remember being like amazed by just the smells and like the whole sensation of the place. And then I went back by mistake, kind of like last December, and I just, I was blown away by it as a country. I think it's kind of like a big playground for Westerners in a way, but it's not been made as touristic as Thailand. And their sense of nationalism for a communist country is really strong. As I'm speaking as well, I can hear there's probably a lot more research I could do and actually have more to say, more to inform, I suppose, on Vietnam. But I had an idea to make a film about Vietnam because the Vietnam War, to me, is like an insane metaphor of the power of this nationalism, and how, well, first of all, like Alan Watts would say that it shows this whole idea of us needing an other, and that's how we create our own identity of the self. So, we didn't exactly know what communism or capitalism were, but we just knew that we wanted to not have what the opposite was. So we just knew that we had to, and when I say we, I mean America. I don't know why I'm identifying with America, probably because they're white, but we had to defeat communism. And Vietnam actually at first didn't even want to be communist. They appealed to America, and then America said no to them, so then they turned to communism. But they had this sense of nationalism, which just proved to be stronger because while America were like throwing down these bombs and just turning everything to absolute debris, they were like smaller and more nifty and like used all this guerrilla warfare and stuff to kind of like hack the powers that be and not fight back power with power, but find another way. And Paulo Coelho talks about that in his book Hippie as like hope for humanity and for hippies, that like Vietnam won the Vietnam War, and that's what should give us hope. And I'm not sure if the connections like seem clear externally, but I think that they do, that there's something about this sense of retaining hope for humanity, because the mechanical power and destroy everything mentality that America threw down on Vietnam like could not beat their sense of togetherness. I feel like I should just call this like Feed Chats shit about Vietnam, because that's basically what I'm doing. But yeah, that just came back up with, this guy, like, it's not that Vietnam actually give a shit about this one British man. It's almost like that old man, Captain Tom, or whatever his name is, like, we don't actually, like, of course there are people who give a shit about these individual characters, but it's what they've come to stand for and what they come to represent. So he may just be one man, but as Vietnam's number is 0 right now, the the disparity between 0 and 1 is 100%, and like they don't want to go up in their cases by 100%. They want to keep their sense of pride and of nationalism by having no cases of corona. So they will do everything to keep him alive. To me, there's something really powerful in that about the human psychology and the sociology of a country and a sense of identity. And it kind of puts the earworm, thought worm in my head of like, imagine if that was channeled into something else. Like, okay, this is one man we're trying to keep alive for corona. I don't know what that specific thing is, but I do think there's this sense of really concentrated intention on one specific thing that could have unseeable at the moment revolutionary effects on the world. And yeah, so Vietnam, revolutions, corona, just me chatting some shit. Peace.